Can everybody see me and hear me? I think there's just a little bit of a delay going on there with the computer. Let's just have a look. Can you all hear me? Hi there. Oh, that's it. I can see it now. There's just a little bit of delay going on. Well, thank you all very much for joining me. I was hoping to do StreamYard, but the connection's not very good, so we're not able to do that at the moment. I'd just like to introduce a little bit about myself. Oh, great. Yeah. Thanks, Alison. Thanks that you can hear, let me know that you can hear me. I've been doing counselling and therapy now for the last 6 years. I had a few things happen to me in my life, like all of us. And I thought I'd like to just investigate and find out why it happened to me and what is the workings going on in other people's minds. And so I started studying, joined the online university and started studying psychology and got more and more into it, and thought, with my background in international human resources and moving people to different countries and watching people in the past struggle, sort of moving with the language barriers and all the bureaucracy, it'd be a nice thing to get into. It'd be nice if everybody would just introduce yourselves to each other, give each other a little bit of background. You never know, you might have somebody online who's just up the road, a neighbour. Hi Alison, nice to see you. Kirsty, we'll get to meet each other soon, I hope, and get for a dog walk. Hi Adrienne from Southwest France, that's great. Nice to see you all. I think we'll just scrap the StreamYard in the future. It just complicates this show. Morning, Sue. Nice to see you. Hi, Melanie. Glad you can hear me loud and clear. Hi, Donna. Karen, great. Oh, you can't see me on the iPad. Okay, I'll take a few notes and look into that. It's great. It's great that you've all been able to join me. And I think we'll make a start. We've only got an hour, so we'll start off with the sensory awareness. If you look down the page on the Facebook, you can see I've posted a few slides. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Morag. About the sensory awareness. If you just want to pull that slide up and have a look at it, and I'll talk you through it a little bit. Sensory awareness is really good, especially in these times of COVID, when we're all feeling a little bit anxious and stressed out. We're watching the news and it's triggering all the emotions in us. We've got our partners around all the time, and especially with all this rain continuously, it can get a bit difficult, a bit trying. It's nice sometimes just to take a little bit of time out and spend some time on your own. And one of the very first things I teach my clients is how to regulate their emotions, because unless you can regulate those anxious, stressful times, it's really difficult to take therapy in and really get the benefit from it. So the sensory awareness, probably a lot of you have done in the past and you're very aware of, is really, really good for focusing the mind. So when your head's full of all this COVID stuff and you're reading the news and that's all you're hearing, and it's really sort of getting the adrenaline going and making your heart pump and your blood pressure go up, it's good just to take a little bit of time out. It's something you can do. You can do it at work. You can do it with your children. You can encourage your partners to do it. And the first thing we look at is on the sight sensors. And if you can do this every day, 2 or 3 times a day, you'll really find it beneficial. So you can just look around and it can be absolutely anything. The first thing I do in the morning is I sleep with the bedroom window open. So lay in bed and just focus on a cloud. It can be anything. It can be a stain on your carpet. It can be a mark on your wall, a scratch on your furniture. And just spend a bit of time looking at it for a whole minute and try and switch your mind off to everything else. And if it's a little mark on the wall or even a scratch, really look at it. Look at the shape of it. Look to see if it looks familiar to anything you know. Look to see if you can see anything in the shape. Look at the colour of it. Go up if you can and touch it and feel it and trace it with your finger. And by just doing that for a minute or two, it just pulls your mind away from all that stress and everything that's going on around you. It's a really good thing to do. And like I say, it can be absolutely anything. So if you can find 5 things during the day to have a stare at, everybody will think you're bonkers just staring into space or looking at a scratch on the furniture. But I think you'll find it's, a nice therapeutic thing to do. The other thing is, the other sensory thing that we look at is textures and touch. And if you can find 4 things with different textures, I'll just show you what I've got my little box here with my bits and pieces in that I go to when I'm feeling a little bit anxious and stressed, and I can go to the box and pull a few bits and pieces out. And I love this. That's my first thing. I love to just sort of stroke it. It's soft and feel the texture and really focus on it and really feel it. It could be anything. It could be a piece of clothing. It could be something with a rough texture that you like. It can be, I can't get to it at the moment. I've got so much stuff on the desk. Got a little box with sand and bits and pieces in it, like a little, because I do Reiki, and it's got my rake and my sand and my Buddha in there. And sometimes it's quite nice just to pick up the grains of sand and feel them between my fingers. I've also got my my rose quartz, which is nice. It's nice and smooth to feel, and it's nice and calming. And because I'm into all the crystals and the crystal healing as well. So yeah, just nice to feel the texture. And what is even more beneficial, if you can find 4 totally different things like rough, smooth, soft and fluffy, and just focus for a minute on each one and then put them away. And you don't have to do these things all at once. You can just sort of pick one item off the list and work your way through it. The other thing you need to do are the auditory, because again, we're touching into all of the senses, not just 1 or 2 of the senses. So listening to the auditory things, I was just thinking, when I was thinking about it this morning, I thought, oh, you can open the window and the first thing you can listen to is the rain. That's all we can seem to hear at the moment, because I couldn't hear any birds singing, but I could listen to the rain. But even listening to that, I can hear the rain coming off trees, and I can hear the rain on the roof, on the tin roof outside, all making different sounds. And so even when there's just a little bit of wind, you can hear that. And if you're at work or in a busy area, you can sit and you can listen to the traffic. Just have an awareness of all the sounds. Even when you think sometimes that it's really, really quiet, there's sounds going on all around us. And yeah, just when you're doing these things, make sure you've got your phone off and the TV off, so that you're really just absorbing it all. It's nice when the spring eventually does come, we'd be able to listen to the birds singing and maybe recognise different birds and things. The other thing I like to do, sorry, going back to that, that's three of the things the auditory things that you like to listen to. And then we go down the list, and there's the things are what we like to smell. the sense of smell, which is really nice, which is one of my favourites. And I've been really lucky this week. One of my clients very kindly bought me this, that she makes them, and it's lovely. It's lavender, and it's got the touchy thing as well because it's really soft. But I love the smell of lavender, and it's really calming. So I was absolutely delighted to receive that this week. That's one of them. And the other thing, some people prefer something savoury. Some people like onions or garlic. They want a foodie smell, but really absorb it. Really sort of get into it. This morning, when I was walking my dogs, I found this first little bit of witch hazel, and it's a shame. Hey, I have a smell. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. It's really quite therapeutic, and especially as it's one of the first plants in my garden that's got a smell, and it's got the touchy feely thing as well on it. Yeah, very nice. And last but not least, and it's not in there at the moment because I've eaten it, is the taste thing. It's to get your favourite food, whether it be a piece of fruit, a piece of chocolate, or a sweet. Oh, and where's my pot gone? Excuse me a minute, ladies. There you go. There's my favourite thing. It's a sherbet lemon. And just pop it in your mouth and don't chew it and swallow it. But if you can, for a whole minute, just move it around your mouth and really taste it. Really, really taste it. Try not to chew it and swallow it. And it's nice if it's chocolate, just let it melt in your mouth, and focus on it and think about it. It's focus on the texture of the food as well as the taste and everything. Anyway, that's all about the sensory awareness, and I hope you give that a go, because that's really very good thing to do every day, 2 or 3 times a day if you can. I mean, if you're at work, just pop into the ladies and shut the door and get something out of your pocket and keep the things on you all of the time. It doesn't have to be huge things. So has anybody tried that before? Hi Mary, I've just seen you're a radio journalist and hypnotherapist. It's nice to see you. Melanie from the Vendée, nice to see you. Eileen, glad that you're able to join us and everything's working. If everybody just wants to pop some little messages in the corner. Penny saying no, you can't hear me. I can see myself live. I've got myself up on another PC. Seems to be working. Oh no, you haven't tried it. Sorry, Melanie, I'm not focusing. Yeah, so give it a whirl. The other thing I'd like to talk about with you is regulating our emotions, which I think is really important at the moment. Is anybody familiar with the parasympathetic system and the vagus nerve? If you look down on my slides, let me just pop down the page and have a look. If we have a look at the one underneath the sensory awareness, I'll just bring it up, the polyvagal system, and this understanding the nervous system. If you think of a ladder, and the ladder's is sectioned off into 3 different sections, and the top, sorry, just had a message, so I thought it was somebody trying to reach me. And the ventral vagal is at the very, very top of the ladder. And that's what we're all aiming for. We're all aiming to get to the top of the ladder on the ventral vagal. And that's the place where we feel really engaged with people. We feel enthusiastic about things. We're feeling good about ourselves. And it's very easy at the moment with everything that's going on with the COVID to be knocked off the top of the ladder. And at the moment, I should imagine a lot of us are in the middle of the ladder, which is sympathetic, the sympathetic part of the ladder. And when we're in our sympathetic state, we're normally a little bit agitated and a little bit sort of out of control. Not in a sort of too much of a way, but we're sort of edging and bordering towards moving down the ladder, which is not a good state to be in. And if we're in that place too often, or a lot of the time, where we're feeling triggered quite a lot by events that are happening around us, it can be things that are going on in your home life with your partner. It could be financial situation. It could be sort of trying to homeschool the kids at home. Anything that's constantly triggering you, making you feel agitated and reactive. And again, what we're looking at working at over the next few weeks is working our way up the ladder. So we're always sort of moving and heading towards the top of the ladder. And then at the bottom of the ladder, we've got the dorsal vagal. And the dorsal vagal is when we've been triggered or we're going through a lot of trauma and an emotional situation so much that we tend to shut down a little bit. Sometimes we isolate ourselves. You can get sort of quite depressed in this state if you're there for a long time without sort of actively doing anything about it. So this is why it's really important to recognize your emotions. And when you can feel yourself sort of slipping on a regular basis and going down into that dorsal vagal, I mean, you can journal it, write it down. What I'll do is I'll put some worksheets out for everybody that you can take away, and it doesn't have to be sort of structured or anything, but just pop it down, and you're more likely, to be honest, to start writing things down when you're on the middle and the bottom half of the ladder. Because when you're feeling good, it's not a problem, is it? We just all carry on, and it's great, and it's nice sort of to be at the top of the ladder, getting on with our lives and enjoying our lives. But it's when we're in the middle and towards the bottom that we start sort of thinking about ourselves and worrying a little bit. Have we got something wrong? Are we depressed? Or, am I going to get back to normal? What can I do to help myself? So, yeah, that's all about the polyvagal system. And I don't want to go into it too much at the moment, but there's a lot of stuff on my website, and I'll put all the details up that you can go in there if you really want to dig into it. Let's just shut that slide down for the moment, and then there's another slide you can look at, which is called the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. And if you take a look at that, it goes into a little bit more detail about our nervous system. What we've got is that down the back of our spine, it goes from the back of our neck down to all our organs, is the vagus nerve. And it's really important to keep the vagus nerve really nice and healthy, because that has an impact on our liver, our kidneys, our heart, as you can see if you look at this slide. Melanie, the slides are just underneath the video. If you take a look underneath, if you come down the page and look at yesterday's video where I was sending out a reminder, and then there's one that says, hello, just a 30-minute reminder, I'll be going live in 30 minutes. Can you all see that? And underneath that, they may be hidden. You may need to click just to expand it. You can see the slides are underneath there. Has everybody managed to find them? So yeah, I'm not going to Oh, somebody's seen it, 'cause I can see somebody's done a clicker and liked it. So yeah, if anybody wants to know a lot more about it, I can post some stuff on my website about the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system that controls all of our body. And when you really get into psychology, it's quite fascinating to know how important it is sort of to keep the vagus nerve nice and healthy. I've got a few exercises and some things that you can do to help with the vagus nerve. There's one that's called the diving reflex, and this is all. Is everybody familiar with fight, freeze, and that? We'll go back to it in a minute. But the diving reflex, it helps us by stimulating. I don't know how to say this. I'll tell you how to do it first, and then I'll go back to what it's good for. It's basically to get your body used to little shocks, but little controlled shocks, so you're not activated too much. Because some people, I've been through it myself, when you go through a lot of trauma over a long time and we're not processing our thoughts correctly, um, what you tend to do is overreact to situations. People say things and it triggers you, or you get into situations. A prime example is it's almost like post-traumatic stress disorder. If somebody's been bitten by a dog and they've hurt themselves quite badly, and then they recover from that, if they suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder after that, what will happen is every time they see a dog walking down the street, it'll trigger them, and they'll start sort of getting nervous and anxious and really quite genuinely afraid, and working themselves up into a state. And it can happen for years and years until they actually deal with that trauma. And trauma isn't all about post-traumatic stress disorder, doesn't just happen to people in the military and soldiers, which is what we've been led to believe in the past. It can happen to anybody. It can be anything. It can be something that some people may think is quite minor, but when you're in that emotional state, it can have quite an impact on you. So these are some of the things you can do if you find yourself that you've gone through a bit of stress, and we all are at the moment. We're all going through a bit of stress with this COVID thing, and we're all possibly a little bit triggered when people are talking about things. Sadly, we've all probably had a relative who's had the COVID, or maybe even somebody who we've lost, a dear one, because of COVID. And that, financial situations, it can be emotional, it can be physical. All these little exercises are good to sort of shore up our emotional systems, so we're better equipped to cope with it. So the diving reflex, not very pleasant, but it's good for the complexion as well and toning your face, is fill a bowl with icy cold water, or your sink, first thing in the morning. And I try and do it in the morning if the water's not too freezing. Just bend and lean over the bowl, hold your breath, and if you can, cover in sort of everything on your face but not your ears. Put your face in that icy cold water for 30 seconds. And make sure the area underneath your eyes here and your cheekbones, which is the most sensitive part of your face, are in the water, and you can feel the icy water. And if you can do that every day, oh, just Alison, oh, you found I'm glad to see that you've found the slides, Alison. Yeah, if you can do that every day, it's really, really very good for triggering things in your body. I'm not going to get into too much detail at the moment, to help your body cope with trauma and little triggers and little things that happen during the day. Another thing that you can do to stimulate the vagus nerve is, hang on, let me find it. Is slow, rhythmic, diaphragmatic breathing, which is probably, Kirsty, you know all about this with yoga and teaching yoga. If you've done yoga sort of into any depth, that they do all this really deep breathing right down into the diaphragm. It's really, really good. It's really, really good for regulating your nervous system. If you can't bear to do the dive reflex and stick your head right in the bucket of cold water or the bowl of cold water, the next best thing is to just get cold water, splash it on your face, or cold shower if you can handle it. Not obviously freezing cold, but not warm, and that stimulates the dive reflex, which is also associated with stimulating the vagus nerve. You can get the same effect by just getting a plastic bag and filling it with ice cubes and holding it against your face as well. It's the very same thing. Meditating is also very, very good. I'm sure we're all familiar with meditation, and I do a lot of meditation tapes for my clients, but I do specific tapes. I don't just get off the shelf tapes. I put a tape together using bilateral sounds, which are very good. You listen to it with headphones, and it's the bilateral sounds that stimulate different parts in your body, which is really good for you. But I make meditation tapes specific to whatever a person's going through at that particular time, whatever their problem is, rather than just general stuff which you can find on the internet anywhere. Yoga, Pilates, all those things are really, really very, very good for stimulating the vagus nerve. Now this is going to look really, really silly, but I really like you all to try it. This is really good because sometimes when we're emotionally stressed out, the vagus nerve, it doesn't shut down, but it doesn't function as well as it normally should do. And some of my clients, they're into public speaking, and it's very, very good exercise if you're doing presentations, if you're a singer, or anything to do with speaking at all. In fact, I should be practicing it myself, doing all these videos. It's making a VOO sound. Has anybody heard about the VOO or the OM sound, which stimulates the vocal cords? What you do is you literally put your mouth like that and go VOO for a long time, for as long as you can hold it. And I know it looks really stupid and really silly, but I tell you what, it's a great one. If your partner or your kids or anyone really pees you off and really annoys you and really irritates you, just go in a corner and turn your back and do a few deep breaths. And if you can, for at least 35 seconds, go like that. And it has to come from the back of your throat, so it stimulates the vagus nerve, and do the VOO. I mean, my husband thinks I'm going nuts sometimes, and sometimes it breaks the ice when they see you doing that. They think you're a bit balmy, but hey ho. And again, it's another one of those things that you can do quite a few times a day to stimulate the vagus nerve to help your emotional health. I've got a few others which you can do, which what I may do is ask Kirsty if she can come in at some point during the future, because she's a yoga teacher, to show you all the different breathing techniques where you pinch your nose and you breathe through one nostril, and then you pinch your nose and breathe out through the other nostril. All these things are very, very good for your emotional well-being. Sorry, I'm just spending time in nature. I'm a big one, and I've studied positive psychology in depth, and it's really very important for your emotional state to make sure all the words you use and all the phrases and all when you're in conversation with people that you are always using positive words. Um, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing some NLP videos, and there's some workbooks on there, and there's a section in it called Ants, which is all about automatic negative thoughts. And what it's doing is you're writing down your automatic negative thoughts, and then you're going to go back and have a look at it and see if you can change that and say it or think about it in a different way using positive psychology to really sort of lift yourself. Because the more we do this, the more we talk to ourselves in a positive way, and the more we examine ourselves and look at the way we're speaking, the way we're thinking, what we're watching on the TV, how we go about our daily business, and try and tweak it and do it in a more positive way. It's all what we're telling the brain, and the more we tell the brain to be positive, what we tell the brain is what we become and is what we are. So if we can stay positive, talk positive, think positive, turn every little negative thing round into something positive, look at the alternative ways of thinking about it, looking at it, we're going to become more positive people. And the more positive we can be, it doesn't mean you've got to be out there and sort of hey. I don't mean that. I mean internally positive, and feeling good about ourselves, so we're less triggered. So we are really learning to regulate our emotions through what we think and how we speak. Mild exercise again is good for the vagus nerve. Massages are particularly good, especially around the sinus area. If you can massage yourself around the carotid sinus here, you can, and the sides of your neck here. If you massage yourself there, that's all very good for the vagus nerve. And gargling. I know that sounds dumb, but it is. It's absolutely brilliant. So when you're doing your mouthwash in the morning after you've cleaned your teeth, just spend a couple of minutes. Instead of just spilling it down the sink, actually gargle with a mouthwash, or just gargle with water. It doesn't have to be mouthwash at all. And it activates the muscles in the back of the throat. It's really very, very good. What else have we got? Oh, and again, I'm sure everybody's well aware of that, is be very aware of what we're eating, and cultivate really healthy intestinal bacteria. I take probiotics every day, and I really do believe in them. And I was told by a nurse many years ago that Actimel and probiotic yogurts, yeah, they're great and they taste nice, but by the time that gets to your stomach, the stomach acid and all the acids on the way down have killed all the enzymes. But if you take a probiotic tablet, it's much more likely to work than a yogurt is. It gets to the place, and I take them for medicinal reasons because I have a few stomach problems which have arisen because of the trauma that I've been through for years and years, but I've learned to regulate it now. And trauma does have a horrible effect on our health. People, I meet a lot of clients that have migraines, they have IBS, they have back problems, and a lot of this stuff, obviously you need to check yourself out by the doctor first, can be regulated through emotional regulation and just looking after our emotional health. I've got a lot of notes here about the nervous system, but time's pressing on a little bit. So I think what I might do is put that up on the website about fight and flight and our survival, but it's not really, I think, relevant to what we're doing at the moment. Let me have a look. I've got a really good one somewhere. Where have I put it? In my notes. Just bear with me. What I'm going to do before we finish off with all the with our little session at the end. I'm just going to go and have a look through some of the questions some of you put down there. Yeah, Mary, you're right, absolutely right. Turn off the news for a few days. It is really depressing at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any other news other than COVID, and all we're doing is swamping ourselves with negativity continuously. Yeah, the news has been turned away from being genuinely informative and completely into keeping people in a semi-hypnotic state through fear and high alert. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, spot on. And it's not doing us any good at all. What they should be doing these sessions at the end of the news to try and help us all, not pulling us all down this vortex and talking about figures and charts and it's almost like sometimes it's like it's becoming human. It's like watching something financial. I'm just having a look. NLP, Michelle. Yeah, I do a lot of NLP with my clients. I had the lady who brought me this in yesterday. She'd only had 2 sessions, and she said there was a complete transformation after listening to the NLP tapes I put together for her. And again, I do one-to-one NLP with a lot of my clients, but as well as doing that, I also make specific tapes for their particular problem and workbooks designed for whatever they're going through. And she said she suddenly, there was a shift, but it didn't happen when we were actually doing the session. The shift happened when she took her tapes away and listened to them for a couple of weeks. And she said she just woke up this morning and it was like light bulb moment, and everything started to move and she started to look at things differently. But I'll continue with it. She wants to continue with it for a couple of weeks to make sure that we really anchor the positive thoughts in there. So have you got a practice, Michelle, for NLP, or are you actually having NLP? Let's have a look. Who else we've got up here? Has everybody managed to find the slides at the bottom of the page? It doesn't matter because you can find them at the end anyway. Okay, now we're going to move on to things, actual physical things that you can do, which is really good. If you find yourself totally stressed out or not, it's maybe something that you just want to do anyway to make yourself feel better. And some of these things are particularly good for you ladies who are living on your own, you're single parents, or you're just living on your own because you are, or your partner's not with you, or and you just want to sort of feel a bit loved and a bit cared for and the rest of it. It's nice, just pamper yourself, just take yourself off to a room when there's, turn the TV off, turn your phone off, get yourself a nice smelly candle and light it, and get in a nice warm bath or lay on a bed with some nice soft lighting, or sit in a really nice comfortable chair and just take your arms and cross them over your shoulders, and just rub your arms up and down, just gently like that, just like you're caressing yourself. And really, I know it's basic, but it is so good, and we're missing this because of COVID, and we can't go up to people and we can't hug people outside of our family situation. We are really missing the physical touching with people. I mean, how often, especially in France, when we all greet each other and we're all kissy kissy and giving each other a hug, or even just shaking hands in the business thing, and all of that's gone now. So it's really important that we nurture ourselves and hug ourselves. So if you can just do this 20 or 30 times, a nice, in a relaxed atmosphere that you're not going to be disturbed, and just soothe yourself and enjoy it. It doesn't have to be someone else, it's the next best thing. And you find it's really, really relaxing to do that. So that's one of the things. I mean, sometimes if I get really stressed, I go through all of these, not the water thing and all the other things, but these 6 particular things we're going to go through now are really good and really effective, and they don't cost anything. It's just a little bit of time, and we've all got plenty of that on our hands at the moment. The other one to do is rubbing your hands together. And if you rub your hands together until they're really, really warm, and then just put your warm hands over your eyes and feel that warmth, and straight away you can feel the muscles relaxing. Just absorb that warmth from your hands, and just keep them there for as long as you want to, as long as you feel comfortable, and enjoy the sensation. That's really, really nice. The other thing we can do is we've got receptors here under our chin and behind our ears, so, and down our face. So I'm just going to take my glasses off for a minute. So just stroking the face gently, which is probably good for your complexion as well, and under your chin, just stroking it. And again, behind our ears. You just try it now. It is really, if your hands are warm, it really is quite relaxing. I mean, you can sit and do that, even watching the TV. Really, really good. Really, really nice. Very, very soothing. Another thing that happens, I suppose you're all really aware of, is when you get really nervous and you're going into a situation, possibly with a lot of people that you haven't met before, if you're getting up on stage or you're doing a presentation, or if you haven't done these live video things before, your mouth gets really, really dry, and we start swallowing all the time because our mouth's dry. And something that you can do to help you before you go, or if your mouth is dry and you're in a nervous situation, it could even be the hospital or the doctors that you're going to, is just let your mouth think of something, your favourite food, and let your mouth fill up with saliva. And if you really focus on something, I don't know, roast dinner, piece of steak, whatever floats your boat, and really let all the saliva come, and move it around your mouth. Move all that saliva around your mouth, and just sort of just keep swishing it around. And they say that's why people enjoy kissing, where when you're in a romantic relationship and you're kissing somebody, and what happens is all that saliva comes in your mouth, and it probably sounds a bit awful, but you know what I mean, ladies. It's you're kissing, and there's that lovely sort of nice, intimate, touchy feely thing, and you can simulate that situation by just doing that yourself, just letting your mouth fill up with saliva, and just moving it around. I suppose at some stage you've got to stop, otherwise we'll start dribbling. But yeah, another one if you fancy doing that. Another one that's really good, and I should be sitting much better than I am at the moment, flopping in my chair. We all get a lot of tension in our necks and our shoulders. And another good one, is to push your shoulders down to release that tension in your neck. Just gently, like that, pulling your shoulders down, sitting straight with good posture. And to begin with, it might feel a little bit tight, the tension, but if you just keep stroking just gently, and pulling your shoulders down. Eventually it'll release that tension. And the last one you can do is to push your tongue on the roof of your mouth, just above your teeth, like that, and really, really push it. And that's really very, very good for relieving the tension. Yeah, looks a bit silly, but another good one. So that's it for the relaxation situation. I had a little exercise that you could do here that you may want to do. Another nice thing to do before we get onto that is just getting a journal, and I got myself one. I said I bought myself that for Christmas just so I can start journaling just your thoughts. Some people like to journal their dreams, and you often see patterns when you do journaling. If you wake up in the morning and write down your dreams, or sometimes if you have specific sort of random thoughts during the day, you can just sit and write them down and go back at the end of the week and have a look and read your journal and just see sort of what your thought process is and where you're at and where you're going, and if you are sort of thinking positive thoughts, or if you see things that it doesn't look sort of good. Reading it about myself, I need to work on that a little bit, I need to sort of tweak it. Or if you've got time and you feel motivated enough, if you're in a good place, if you're at the top of that emotional ladder and you can journal, again, write in the journal why you feel like that, why you're up in the ladder, what you did to get you there. Because sometimes we forget all this stuff. We live our lives and we just take everything for granted, and we don't go back and look at ourselves and what made us happy. We just take it on board. Oh, it was a wedding, it was a party, it was this and that's why we were happy. But write down exactly how you feel, and how you felt before and how you felt after, and look at the patterns, look at the way you're living, and look at your reactions, which is causing all the way that you're living. That's another one which is good. Another one a lovely friend bought for me. I don't know if you can see it. Today is your day, and that's really important. Every day is your day, so make it your day. And surround yourself with all these little bits and pieces, because it's really good for you just to sit sometimes and have a little think about it. I've got these, which are great. And I flick the cards over every day, and each one is so appropriate to whatever's going on that day. And again, that was a little present from a friend. And they're good. They're good to have around. I've got a lot of motivational books that I dip into every now and again. So the little thing I think would be nice to you, whether you want to do it or not, but I'll just put a little reminder in the box underneath, is complete a profile by finishing these 2 sentences for each state, and do it every day. And see how you feel. And the first one is I am, and it's like I am happy, I am sad, I am angry, I'm really annoyed with the world, I'm really at peace with the world, I'm comfortable, I'm relaxed. Just that statement, I am, and whatever you are, whatever you're feeling. In fact, if any of you want to, just pop it in the box now, how you are. Exactly how. Be honest. Just be totally honest. I mean, we're a group and we're here to support each other and help each other. And if we can be open about it and say how we am, it's really nice. It's nice to share, and it's good because if any of you are sort of feeling a bit low or stressed or whatever, maybe, you know, others have got suggestions about how you can be. And if anyone's really happy and feeling really good, great, we can all enjoy that and we can all share it. And the other statement I'd like you to write is the world is. And the world is what? And some people will be thinking at the moment, the world is rubbish at the moment. The world is pretty sad. It's not great. But then go back and look at it another day and you might wake up and you might do a few of these exercises and think, actually, yeah, the world's not bad. And look at it in a different way. Oh, Nikki, you're agitated. Any ideas, Nikki, what you're going to do about being agitated to help yourself? Melanie, you're tired. Why are you working, Melanie? Why are you tired? Kirsty, I'm frustrated. Michelle, my sister is a holistic therapist and she has practiced it. I'm struggling. So, yeah, Penny, we're with you there. Yeah, I think a lot of us are struggling and have been. That's why it's really important for us to take care of our emotional health. Mary, try and put on classic music while listening, paint the feelings. Yeah, that's great, Mary. That's really good. Yeah, music is absolutely fabulous. I don't know if any of you have got playlists, but go back to your playlists, sort them out, add to them, strike off what isn't relevant anymore that you don't like. You might find in this sort of climate at the moment that we're going through that your music tastes have changed completely. And get your playlist out and turn the telly off. Get your head out of the computer and get your music on. This is another one which is really, really good for the vagus nerve, is dancing. And that sounds silly, but I'll tell you what, if there's no one around and you get your favourite music on and turn everything else off, it feels silly for the first 30 seconds, but then you can really get into it. And it's nice because none of us can socialise really at the moment. We're not doing this stuff. So there's absolutely no reason at all why we shouldn't just be doing it for ourselves, with ourselves and enjoying it. Turn it up loud. Lots of us are living in areas where it's not going to bother anyone if we got the loud music on and we're bopping away. And it's not like you've got youngsters around sort of like, oh God, there she goes, you know, embarrassing. It doesn't matter. There's no one to see us. We don't have to dress up for it. Get up in your pajamas. Last thing at night, go in your bedroom, put your candle on and put your music on and have a boogie. Enjoy it. A lot of my therapies I do to music, especially my NLP tapes and my hypnosis tapes. I've got specific bilateral music, which is really, really good, which I put to all my tapes. And when I'm doing EMDR therapy, I do flash EMDR therapy in small groups sometimes, and that's really good to do to music because we stop and start the music and we go through the therapy. And after a while, when everybody gets over sort of the first initial embarrassment, when we're doing it on Zoom and we can all see each other, because I can't do EMDR therapy obviously unless I can see people and I can see their reactions and I can read their body language, and I know I'm sort of touching on the right thing. Yeah, EMDR therapy, I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, is amazing, an amazing tool for post-traumatic stress and complex CPTSD. It's get some really good results. EMDR therapy is very different to regular counselling and therapy because you don't have to do all that digging into the past and pulling all that nasty stuff up for months and months and really putting yourself through it and really upsetting yourself. EMDR therapy is just literally personal. You don't have to go into too many awful places with it. and you can work with it and get rid of it, get rid of the post-traumatic stress very, very quickly within a matter of weeks. It's a great one for children when children have gone through trauma, because it's sometimes a bit tricky, but if you get some music on with them and treat it like a game, it works really, really well. So has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask? The world is forever changing. Too true, Kirsty. Eileen, in a daze. Goodness me, yeah, we're all, it is having a dramatic effect on all of us. Judy, frustrated and a tad of unfairness. Hey, Adrian, a little bit fed up. And I think, ladies, you're probably understating here. You're being a bit economical with the truth, because many of the people I'm meeting on the one-to-one, they're feeling tearful and they're feeling they're really struggling with this. And the other thing I'll just mention quickly is, if you want to cry, don't be tough. Don't try and be that strong person that we've all been encouraged to be by our parents in the past. Cry, because we've got hormones in our tears, and sometimes those hormones need to come out, and there is nothing wrong and there is no shame, and it is not a weakness to cry. If you feel the tears welling up and you haven't even got a reason for it, it really doesn't matter. Cry. Cry and cry and cry until you feel better, and don't feel bad about it. Do not feel guilty about crying, and do not feel embarrassed or ashamed about crying. Crying is there for a reason. It's a release of hormones, and it'll help you. It will really help you to feel better. Michelle, I've got my parents staying with us, which is great. My dad has dementia and he's 80, and so I'm holding everybody up, emotionally draining with the changes within him. Yeah, Michelle. So, yeah, interesting to hear what you're doing to holding everybody up. That must be exhausting. It can be. This, yeah, it's sad, very sad to hear some of these stories. But the more we can work on ourselves and the stronger we can be, the easier it's going to be for ourselves. Adrienne, rebounding on a mini trampoline, is brilliant and gives every cell in the body a workout. Wow, that sounds amazing. Where is your trampoline? Is it indoors or outside in the rain? Rebounding equals 60 minutes running. Well, I'll take a look at that. Sounds pretty good, because I've not been doing much at all. My thing is swimming. I've got a good friend. Normally we join the leisure centre and we go off swimming once a week. It's my therapy. If I do 40 or 50 lengths, I come out of there and the world is wonderful in my eyes after I've done it, and that can last me 2 or 3 days. But obviously no swimming at the moment. I haven't been able to swim since August in my own pool, which was a little bit chilly this year for some reason. So I promised myself, that's my treat to myself this year, is pool heater, to get it just up a little bit, because I shall be in there come May. I'll get that wetsuit on and it'll be tough, it'll be hard. It's a bit of punishment to start with, and I'll be out there, because I know halfway through, once I've done the first 20 lengths, all my troubles will just diminish, just disintegrate. Morag, feeling scared today. My husband starts, oh dear, I'm so sorry, Morag, good luck, I hope it all goes well for him. Yeah, that's tough one to deal with, Morag. Yeah, if you feel you need to chat, have you got some support there, Morag? That's really tough. Karen, I had a couple of EMDR sessions via the NHS. Wow, I didn't know you could get it on the NHS. Did you enjoy it, Karen? Was it good? Mary, here's a thorough guide to different techniques to help with hormones and stress. Great, thanks for that, Mary. That's good. It's good for us all to share this stuff, because the more we do, the more we can tap into. Blog month of love, female hormones, life hacks, slow down and breathe. Linda's voice always puts me in a happy place. Oh, that's nice, Alison. Thank you for that. Don't I ever make you fed up? Don't you ever get sick of listening to me sometimes? Karen, I'm trying to cope with paperwork, working full time, look after profoundly disabled adult daughter and support 2 adult daughters in the UK. I'm exhausted mentally and my body is now complaining. Karen, yeah, you really need to it must be really difficult for you. You've got a lot on your plate, but you really important for you to take time out for yourself and look after yourself. You know, sometimes we're all so busy looking after other people and trying to help everybody else. We forget about ourselves and we ignore ourselves, and it's unless we look after ourselves, we're not going to be in a fit state to look after anyone else. Mary William Hoff. I'll take a look at that, Mary. It's Adrian, it's about 112 diameter with a safety handrail in the corner of the lounge. I just pull some bouncy music and Netflix and good to go. So yeah, like the sound of that. Might get myself one, but I don't know if I've got a space that big enough in my house anywhere. And I've got 3 dogs which take up all the space everywhere. Karen, it helped at the time, but much going on, I've become overwhelmed. Oh, it's lovely to talk to all you ladies. It's really nice. It's really good to hear that we're all human and that we're all quite normal and we've all got a lot going on in our lives. Is there anything in particular you'd like me to do on the next session? Mary, for your cold swimming. William Hoffett. All right, I'll take a look at that. Yeah, I don't know how many more years I'm going to be able to do it for, but apparently it's supposed to be good for weight loss because the minute you plunge into the cold water, your body starts burning the calories to try and keep you warm. Yeah, ladies, I'd really love to hear from you if there's anything in particular that you'd like me to do over the next few weeks on here. I can do NLP online in a group situation. EMDR's a little bit more tricky, but it may be possible. I do cognitive behavioural therapy as well. But this group's for you. It's not about me selling anything. I just here to help. My mother always taught me, she said, you know, if you've got food on the table and you don't have to worry about your heating bills and you've got, oh, she was big on clothes. She always said if you've got clothes in the wardrobe as well, that's an important one, but maybe not. And she said sometimes, you know, it's good to put a little bit back in. And so that's why I'm doing this group, for no other reason than that. I just thought there's loads out there at the moment for free, but I couldn't see anybody doing the counselling thing for free. And I think we all need it, even when we're healthy and even when we're well. It's good. It's good just to take a step back and think, no, I need to look at myself, and it all helps. It all helps us staying fit and healthy mentally as well as physically. Interested in NLP as I've only had a vague notion of what it's about. I'll put some information out there, Adrienne, about the NLP. It stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. Basically, that's just a fancy name for reprogramming our mind. So that's the whole idea of, like, the journaling I talked about, is sort of seeing where your thoughts are at. And also the other thing I talked about earlier, the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. And it's to turn those thoughts around. And what we're doing, it's retraining the brain to think in a more positive way. And plant more positive things into your mind. And they say if you do anything, any of these therapies, if you can do it consecutively for 21 to 28 days, it becomes a habit. So all of us, any of this stuff, if we can do it, let's get into some really good habits as well as the bad ones we've got. and plant the good positive thoughts into our mind. NLP is also good, as well as getting ourselves into a more positive place. People that have got a lot of problems or a lot of issues, or you can use it to stop smoking, you can use it for dieting. It's not just the emotional stuff. You can use it if you want to get on at work, if you're sort of a bit concerned about doing big presentations in companies, or if you're going for a promotion. NLP can be used for so many different things, the good and the bad. You can use it to diminish the bad, and to shrink the bad down, and to put it in a place in the mind, tucked away where it should be, instead of popping up all the time and bugging us and bothering us. Or it can be used to project ourselves forwards and reach our goals, and stop procrastinating, and get out there and do what we want to do. It's a really, really useful tool. An oldie, but a goodie. Thank you for sharing your time and knowledge. You're very welcome. It's I want a pool heater too. Yeah, let me know, Michelle, if you've managed to find somebody for the pool heater. I'll share it with you if I manage to find somebody who's going to do it reasonably. I'm not prepared to pay much. Thank you for your time. That's all right. You're all very welcome, every single one of you. I'm really glad that you made it. I'll see if I can get the StreamYard working next time. But this seems to be working quite well, actually. Maybe I won't bother with the StreamYard. I'll scrap that. Is everybody happy with the Facebook Live? Or would you prefer to use Zoom, where we can all see each other? Waiting. Is anybody still there, or have you all gone? No, thanks so much. Yeah, you're all extremely welcome. Yeah, I'll leave that one with you, ladies. If you just pop down, if you prefer Zoom, where we can all see each other, or you want to continue on the Facebook Live if it's easier for you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed it. Let me know what you want over the next few weeks, and I'll try and get it together for you. And if anybody's got any questions, if anybody's got anything really personal, just friend request me and send me a personal message. I know not everybody wants to share everything on here in front of everybody. Happy with a Facebook Live, can't do Zoom. I prefer Zoom. Happy either way, either for me. Brilliant. Okay, Kirsty, I shall drop you a line and we'll get together soon, hopefully. Facebook Live works well. Thank you so much. Putting faces. Yeah, you're right, Karen. Yeah, it might be quite nice for us all in the future just to see each other, especially if we're doing some. It'll be good for me doing the therapy, because it's nice to have that feedback. It's nice to watch the body language, and for me to tap into how people are responding and reacting. Great. Facebook Live. Good. Maybe we can do a combination of both. But yeah, thanks very much, ladies. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye.